I'm pretty sure it's the only example with a twin turbo kit that somebody built in their garage. So I bought a Lamborghini Gallardo. It's a 2008 Gallardo Spyder, and it has a bunch of stuff done to it by a previous shop. So I bought this car about 5 months ago. I bought it sight unseen, essentially, on eBay for 70 grand. And since I'm a shrewd negotiator, I got them down to 64 grand. I got the car shipped to my house. I live in Florida. It was not running because the clutch was busted. I actually ended up finding out that the clutch was seized because the car was sitting for 3 years and some water got in it, and I actually had to take a screwdriver and just pull it apart, and now it works. So this Lamborghini was a victim of a gas pump fire, and now, I mean, these cars are pretty well known for their gas pump fires. Gallardos are a little bit weird in that if you fill them up regularly like a regular car, the gas pump clicks like it's full, but it's not. So what you have to do is you have to hold it at a little bit of an angle, but then that gets rid of that click, so you could legitimately overfill this car. From the previous owner's mouth, what he told me is that he was filling up the car, and he had it cocked sideways. He had the pump cocked sideways, and he was filling up the car, and then somebody went to talk to him. Some guy said, hey, I like your car, you know, how fast is it, and you know, how much did it cost, and blah, blah, blah. I think he might have been on a rally. He's like one of these Gold Rush rally types. He doesn't realize that he's overfilling the car. Now this car has 2 gas tanks. It has one on either side of the engine, and it's about 6 inches. The gas tank is 6 inches from the very hot exhaust manifold. So what happens when you overfill the fuel is that it starts pouring over, and then it starts pooling under the car. And he was on a little bit of an incline, so the fuel started dripping downwards. So as soon as it hit that hot exhaust manifold, it just went up. The gas station just put everything out as fast as possible because it's a gas station, they don't want to explode. So the car had some damage. It had some damage on the driver's side. The insurance thought that because the car was modified, something in the modification process made this car go up. It wasn't the gas pump fire. So the insurance company took the car back. They took the engine out, gearbox, all that stuff. They pressure tested the tanks, and they left the car in the state of disrepair. And they found no wrongdoing. Everything was done correctly, even though when I took the car apart, there was a lot of things that could have been done, let's say, more correctly. The insurance company gave the money to the original owner, and they left the car basically just in pieces. So they had the engine in a box, transmission in a box, and the car it just looked like it had been in this nasty, nasty fire just because there was soot everywhere. It's a white car. This company from San Diego that I got the car from, they took the car, and all they did was just slap the engine and transmission back in. They slapped the whatever twin turbo kit that was in there. They didn't know anything about Lamborghinis. They just knew how to put cars back together. And they did an okay job. I'm not going to say that it was horrible, but it was okay. There was a lot of vacuum lines disconnected, and I bought the car from them. They made a little bit of a profit, which is fine, you know, yay capitalism. When I got the car, I had to take everything out. I took out the transmission, the engine, just to check everything. And the car was actually in really good shape. There's no structural damage. There's just cosmetic damage, just like the quarter panel. And I replaced everything. The car's at the body shop now, and it should be looking 100% soon enough. And other than the Salvage title, this should be one of the cleanest examples with a twin turbo kit and I'm pretty sure it's the only example with a twin turbo kit that somebody built in their garage. It made a pretty substantial amount of power on the dyno. It's very, very loud. It's a convertible, so you have that open top experience. It's a gated 6-speed manual, which is getting more rare and rare. It's just a pleasure to drive. So yeah, I can't wait to get more seat time in it. And I want to demystify the Lambo experience. A lot of people find these cars to be unobtainium, you know. And I mean, a Gallardo is the starter Lambo. But the starter Lambo starts at 200 grand, you know, when it was brand new. For most people, I mean, myself included, I can't afford this sort of car. So since I got this car, I want to be able to drive it. I want to drive it across the country. I want to do half-mile events. I want to have it be a really good canyon carver. You know, I want it to have the handling characteristics that you would expect from an exotic car. The Lamborghini aesthetic appealed to me because it almost seemed like a self-made car. Like, it's a car for self-made people. And the Ferrari is more of You can have a self-made Ferrari, but there's different, there's like a, dare I say, snobbiness. I don't want to piss off the Ferrari people in the audience, but like there's a, dare I say, like a little bit of the snobbiness. Like you go into the dealerships and they're like, they're not too eager to help you. The whole thing with Lamborghini and Ferrari, where Lamborghini basically Ferruccio Lamborghini bought a Ferrari, and then they had a spat, and he said, I could build a better car and all this stuff. I love that, and I think that translates into the people that buy the cars. And it was fun for me because I love a challenge. I love working on new cars, working on new projects. But I learned a few things after buying this Lamborghini, because when you buy a car that is so expensive, so bespoke, and has so many different parts that come from so many different parts of the world, you have people that, one, are jealous, two, don't know what they're doing when it comes to mechanical work, and three, might be a combination of both. So when I bought this Lamborghini, I wanted to have it run well. I wanted to have it be the best example of a haggard Lamborghini as I could. I decided to reach out to different body shops, different tuning shops and whatnot. This car was a twin turbo car when I got it. So it had been basically gone over, the engine was built, had rods, pistons, sleeves, all that stuff. It could take a lot of power, like 1,600 horsepower. It also had a twin turbo kit that was custom made by a shop, and they didn't really do a great job at it. So I had to basically redo everything from the ground up in my own garage. So that was an interesting thing. But the funny part about that is when you actually start doing that in your garage, then you realize that when you reach out to other shops that do this stuff full time and make Lamborghini turbo kits and whatnot, they don't want to work with you. So it's just one of those things where if you want to have the car tuned, which is a big portion of this sort of build, this car has a Salvage ECU, which is an aftermarket ECU that allows you to control everything about the car. It's used by race teams and all these like top tier 2,500 horsepower underground racing monsters that just dominate the half mile. Those cars use Salvage ECUs. The problem is with the Salvage ECU, they only give people training for the ECU if they're part of like this little group. And if you're not part of the group, then that information is really hard to come by. They basically told me, well, we don't know where your engine came from. We don't know who built it. We don't know what the turbo kit is capable of. We don't know if it's put together correctly. And that was fair. I mean, I really didn't know where it came from either, so I can't really fault them for that. I understand the liability aspect. But I think in life, I think there should be a little thing, like there should be a little card that says, I am not a dummy, I am not trying to fool you, and I'm presenting this car in good faith. I believe I should be able to give that card to them, and they should go, oh, okay, so we'll work with you. But apparently that card does not exist, so they don't know me from any other guy, and they just thought that, hey, this kid just bought some stupid Lambo that's been worked on by God knows who, and we are not going to take this project on, even though we're the only game in town as far as tuning and whatnot. So I decided to just do everything myself, and I mean, it's worked out pretty well. The car's made some power, hasn't blown up yet, which is good. When I bought this Lamborghini, I went on the Lamborghini forums, as you're apt to do, because when you get a little bit of press, when you have a YouTube channel and it gets a little bit of play, then you want to see what people are saying. You go on Reddit, you go on the forums and whatnot. Almost immediately, people are voicing their opinions, and they're saying one of two things. With Lamborghini people, they're saying, I hope he does well, and kind of well wishes, but those are like 5%, whatever. But then the peanut gallery chimes in, and they basically know, first of all, they count your money for you. And number two is they want you to fail. And if you do fail, if you have like a little bit of a hiccup or something, they go, aha! I got him right there. He is going to be penniless in a matter of weeks. And well, I mean, apparently that hasn't happened. I still have my shirts. The car is doing fine, and the internet commenters, the ones that started off saying that I will, have to eat my socks to live. I actually don't have any socks right now, so the jury's out on whether or not that actually happened. those people have gone away. All the Reddit people that have said, well, he's bitten off more than he could chew and all that stuff, those people just tend to go away after a while.